Hey guys, how y'all doing today? Tao here, AliensRock50 here, and welcome back to a special Bloons TD Battles modded video. You guys probably remember this map from a while back, but in case you don't, this is the Labyrinth, a custom-made Bloons TD Battles track that is supposed to be the longest map in Bloons TD Battles history, longer than any map currently in the game. The longest map in the game, it takes about 40-ish seconds for a red balloon to go from start to finish. On this map, it's something more like a minute and 20. So that's just a testament to how long the map is. As you can see, it has lots of twists and turns and very narrow pathways, and the path is so long, it basically covers the entire side of your playing field. Now, the drawback of this is the fact that because there's so much track, there's so little place for towers. You can maybe only fit 17 small towers total or something ridiculously small like that per map, or per side of the map, which is incredibly small. So ISAB and I got together, we thought, hey, let's go for the latest round of that, highest round we could possibly go on this map, and just see what happens, because you never know, it could be really interesting. So I mean, we brought our temple loadout, we brought our ninja, we brought our ice, brought our chipper, and hopefully we're just gonna try to take this to well, late game. We're not going for like the highest round in BTD Battles history, but you know, we're just seeing how far we can realistically get on this map, or at least how far we can realistically attempt to. Because I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? The fact that you have less towers but so much more time to pop the balloons, are those going to counteract each other, and are we still going to be able to form a decent defense out of it? So it's kind of tough to say. It's kind of tough to say indeed. So what are our towers, why do we have them, and what's our strategy? So we got the Super Monkey, duh. Super Monkey is obviously the best late game tower, just for the fact that you can get temples of the Monkey God. Also, Techno Terrors are good, but if we have temples, we probably will not be able to fit in Techno Terrors anywhere. So temples, they're pretty big, take up a lot of space. We have about 4 spaces where we can place temples, and you can't place them all like right next to each other either. Even if you could, you probably couldn't get more than 4 temples, which is what we're going to go for. 1 in each tiny, or of the, large island. I say tiny because, yeah, it's tiny as shit, but it's large compared to the even tinier island in the middle. You can't fit a Super Monkey or Techno Terror there, but we will be going for 1 in each of the 4 corners. Then we got Ninja and Ice. So Ice, for starters, is a temple sacrifice that makes the temple more powerful, and it also has a 50% slow ability, which is pretty good. The fact that you can slow down any Moab class balloons, normal balloons, to half speed, yeah, that makes it pretty strong. It'll be really useful for us defending. Also, we got Ninja, which also has that 50% slow, and we'll be using that slightly differently than Ice, actually, for our slow. We will be using much less Ninja than Ice, and I'll be getting into that later once we get into advanced techniques. And then last but not least, we have the Bloon Chipper. And the Bloon Chipper we're using solely for its ability. Yes, it doesn't touch ZOMGs anymore, but it does touch everything else, BFBs and lower. So basically, we'll be just having Bloon Chipper abilities, selling and rebuying it, and hopefully using that to defeat any BFBs, or at least lock them in place so the temples can hold them off. So now we're trying to go insane for the temple sacrifices, getting 1 in each corner and trying to get as many sacrifices to it as possible. So to get the best possible temple, you want $30,000 of your different types of sacrifices, and then you want to get as many different types of sacrifices as possible. The categories are Ice, there's Glue, there's Bomb, which consists of bomb and mortar, there's Wizard, and then there's Miscellaneous, which is literally anything else that I had mentioned. So Ice is obviously the sacrifice as a category of its own, so we're using that. And then we have a Miscellaneous sacrifice, and we're just using Chipper for that, because Chipper is a very tiny footprint. You can fit in like 2 Chippers next to temple, get them to 2-4, and that provides $30,000 worth of Chipper, which you can sacrifice to the temple. So we got that going there. So fantastic, we got all 4 temples up, and they're close to maxed. Some of them might be a little bit off in the Ice sacrifice, like we may have sacrificed $25,000 of Ice, or maybe $28,000 instead of $30,000 or some, which means our temple's gonna be slightly weaker than it could be, but it's still hopefully good enough. So then, what's nice actually is that the temple, although it's huge, it doesn't take up its entire footprint. So you can still place towers technically on the land space of the temple, and they're like on the temple, which I guess makes sense. The temple is so large it could basically be considered a piece of real estate itself. As long as you're not on top of the head, I guess you're not really, you know, taking up, or you're not really intruding on its you know, on the ability to place towers there. I don't know what I'm going at. I'm saying other towers can sit on the temple because the temple is so freaking massive, and that's just my lore reasoning as to why you can place towers on top of the temple, because in-game it doesn't really make sense, but hey, that means we can also fit in a lot more towers than we were able to beforehand. So we get the temple, then we can place 2 more towers on each individual island for a total of 8 more towers. I'm just using those for ice abilities, because I know I can't fit super monkeys. Those are a bit too fat. You need smaller towers. You either fit super or ice, you either fit ninja or you fit balloon chipper, and ninja's not going to do too much like Messi gives a balloon jitsu, and that's really poor pop and power compared to the temples. So instead I'm just filling up the screen with ices, because you can't really sell and rebuy the ice ability. You just have to kind of keep activating it whenever stuff comes on screen, then reactivating it when mobs show up. So why ices and not ninja? So there's this thing with the ninja, is that yeah, it slows down all balloons on screen for 15 seconds, then they speed back up. Well, that's fantastic. That's how the ninja works, and that's it was buffed to do that basically. However, there's this also extra thing about the ninja, is if you activate the ability right before certain balloons come on screen, for the next 15 seconds, the next balloons that come on screen will all be permanently slow. Not just temporarily for 15 seconds, then you have to reactivate the ability, but permanently slow. So basically, I'm just using that one spot in the middle to sell and rebuy a single ninja ability, figure out when the next round is about to start, and then activate the ninja ability. So figure out when the next round is going to start, yeah, it's kind of difficult. Basically, you pay attention to how far the ZOMGs make it at any given round, then you realize, well, okay, the next round's ZOMGs are going to make it slightly further, because every single round the ZOMGs get slightly stronger, and they get slightly faster, meaning they'll take a bit longer to hit, and they'll also travel further in that time. So I'm just kind of guesstimating, but generally I'm on the nose. I've gotten that down to science, figuring out when the ZOMGs are going to come, just slightly further along the, you know, when the previous ZOMGs are just slightly further along the track, that's when the next ZOMGs come, and they get further and further every time. And basically that way I only need to get away with using one ninja ability. So then, if I can get away with one ninja ability, why can't I just get away with one ice ability, for example? Well, so the ice is something a bit more of an advanced-ish technique. I mean, it's simple in theory, but you still have to actually pay close attention to pull it off. Look at how all my ZOMGs are stacked on top of each other, and ISABs are spread out. We did get sent the exact same amount of ZOMGs, but it looks like I had just one for some reason. So I was using what's called ice stacking. So with the ice ability, it only slows down balloons that are on the screen, not ones that are about to show up. So what you can do is right when a ZOMG comes on screen, you can slow it down, then you can wait for the next ZOMG to show up, and what you want to do, you want to wait for that second ZOMG to be placed on top of the first ZOMG, so it's stacked, and then activate the ice ability again to hit that second ZOMG, and probably the third ZOMG, because it'll be on screen by the time you press an ability. And then you do that until all the ZOMGs are on screen, and they're as close to clumped up as together as possible. So the benefit of that is the fact that your temples will be hitting every single ZOMG with one shot, instead of just aiming at the first ZOMG and leaving the back ZOMGs undamaged or just damaged less than the previous ones. So then all the ZOMGs pop at basically the same time, and they pop into BFBs, and then you can just use chipper ability to get rid of the remains and defend just a lot easier. Like, look at this. Look at our ZOMG stack. They're very tightly clumped together. It does get harder as rounds get later, because ZOMGs get there's more and more of them sent, to get faster and faster, and it's pretty hard. And however, there's also the occasional problem where you fuck up the timing, and the first ZOMG comes on screen before you activate the ninja ability. If that's the case, then the ZOMG will speed up every 15 seconds. You have to keep reactivating the ninja ability, which is a pain in the ass. So that is why I'm trying to be very, very precise with my ninja timing, because I don't want to have full speed ZOMGs, or at least half speed, because they are slowed down by the ice. Half speed as opposed to 25% speed. You just don't want those. You really don't. And, well, yeah, basically those are the only ZOMGs that make it far. Everything else still gets defeated pretty quickly, so I can't be mad about that. And we're continuing on through round 70. So with that ice stacking, we only have 6 ice abilities, but that is certainly enough to ice stack. Realistically, we only need 3 or 4 too, because the rounds last so long that the ice abilities come back by the time the ZOMGs pop into Moabs. So when the Moabs speed up, because ice ability doesn't last for all layers of balloons, the Moabs speed up, the ice abilities will be back, and they'll be ready to slow down the Moabs once again. So that works out really well in our favor. So all these rounds are actually really, really long. We are spending much more time on this than your average late game because of the fact that we are riding out every single round to its limits. Not just the long rounds, but every single round, because rounds will end if you've killed all the balloons, but you see the next round is starting while the previous round's balloons are still on screen. That's because there's a hard limit as to how long each round can be, and we're hitting that pretty much every time. And it does get longer and longer slightly, but it's like maybe a 3-second increase every time, give or take. And that means we're just drawing out the game, and we're about an hour into this and only on round 74. So for normal late game runs, you generally get a lot further than an hour, is what I'm trying to say. We're only on round 75 right now, and we definitely could be a bit further, and that's just because we're not killing the balloons fast enough. We only have 4 temples, and we only have a limited amount of popping power, but we still have all the time in the world to defeat it, because balloons have not even made it halfway across the screen. Like, generally we're popping the ZOMGs before they've made it even a quarter of the way around the screen. So that means we still have a long way to go before we're dying anytime soon. And I haven't even started talking about the balloon chipper yet, because we haven't even had to use it. One more thing, I guess, with our late game setup is that all of our temples are on strong. So why are they on strong, and what if like a Moib or BFB gets through? Well, first off, we just always want to be aiming at the ZOMGs. The ZOMGs are the strongest dudes. They have so much health, and they are the real problem, I guess, with getting to late game, because I mean that's the hardest challenge. If you knock it down to BFBs, they have something like 1/6 of the health of a ZOMG, so it's a lot easier to kill that, and Moabs have 1/3 of the health of a BFB, probably even less. Like, those are just approximations, and basically those are really easily killable. So when the temples are aiming at the ZOMGs, sometimes their temple plasma, as large and as, since it has so much pierce, it will hit other balloons. It will. It's accidentally shooting the Moabs despite not directly aiming at it, which is how we've just been surviving for so long. All those Moabs, all those BFBs are getting accidentally hit by the temple plasma and getting knocked down, which works really well in our favor. Then we got our 4th tower, the balloon chipper, which I'll finally talk about. You know, only 12 minutes in the video, finally talk about this 4th tower, the balloon chipper. So the balloon chipper ability basically makes it so you never have to worry about BFBs and under. Chipper stall, the ability for it means you suck up a BFB for something like 4 or 5 seconds, and then you can sell the chipper ability, get another one, or you can be doing 2 abilities, kind of selling and rebuying. So you have one ability, and then you buy another one while the ability is active, and then you activate the second ability right when the first one ends, then you sell the first one, buy another one, and repeat, basically. So you just do that over and over and over again, and that can basically infinitely stall BFBs, so you literally never have to worry about it. Even if your temples are aiming directly at the ZOMG, there'll still be some collateral damage done to the BFBs, and then Moabs, and then other ceramics and below, eventually. So the BFBs you really just won't have to worry about. It's all about taking out that ZOMG layer. So ZOMGs are finally making it maybe a third of the way around the track now, which is a good sign of everything speeding up. Sure, Moabs are getting far, but we still haven't even activated a single chipper ability yet. At least I don't think I have. I know I have 2 chippers in the bottom right corner. Maybe I actually activated one of them because I was afraid of the Moabs, but I really don't have to worry about it. ISAB's been doing a bunch of chipper abilities, like something in the middle, just selling and buying 1 chipper. But I'm just confident in my ice timing, and I'm confident in just my general ability for these temples to defend, that I'm not even activating any chipper abilities. I don't need to yet. I'll be getting into that shortly, because I'm sure we'll be needing it. ISAB side is looking more and more ridiculous, though. He's having to do chipper abilities just to stay alive. He's got pretty decent micro, and there we go. We see a chipper ability right now. The middle is actually a pretty good spot for it. Even though it has a limited range, it'll still suck up the majority of the balloons on screen, and will do pretty good. We have yet another ZOMG on our side that didn't get perma-slowed, so we had to keep activating the ninja ability. Thankfully, that was still getting the job done. It was only jumping ahead of the rest of the ZOMGs by a little bit, and here we are activating more chipper abilities, just 1 in the center. Eventually, I'll switch up my whole chipper strategy in general. I'll start selling off some ice towers so I can do permanent chipper stall, which will be nice. And I'm also chipper stalling in the bottom right corner because that's where balloons are leaking, and we just want to be sure that we don't die to them randomly. So yeah, we got 1 in bottom right and 1 in the center right now, but I realize I can switch up that strategy and have a chipper in the center as well as a chipper in the top left. So right when ZOMG's popping the BFBs, I can suck them up with 1 ability, sell the ability, and get another one, and just have them basically permanently stalled in the top left area, which will work out pretty well in our favor. Now that we got chipper ability constantly going, looks like balloons are actually making it less far on our screen, and we're about to hit round 90, and basically, we're still feeling fine. Looks like ZOMGs are making it 2/5 the way across the screen. Maybe half. It actually might be a bit more than half, since the right side, at least, yeah, where balloons are right now might be halfway mark. Like, it's really hard to keep track. I can't tell to be exact, but it looks like balloons are making it, ZOMGs are making it about halfway across before being popped into the VFBs. So that means we still got a few more rounds in us, right? Well, pay attention to ISAB's side, because it's starting to look bad. Yeah, he's got ZOMGs making it to the final quarter of his track, so he's got to be sure not to randomly die to that, and keep chipper ability just to stay alive. I mean, he's got the ninjas, he's got some ice. Looks like Moabs go through, but I guess he barely stayed alive there, and we're still knocking down ZOMGs and just chilling. Balloons aren't really making it to the second half of our track much at all. And there we go, still chipper ability, no real difficulty there. And I'm finally getting a second chipper in the top left corner, so I can just do a perma stall, which will just make my life so much easier. Because really, selling and rebuying one chipper means that balloons move in the brief period of time when you don't have an ability going, because you are selling and then rebuying one in its place. The ability isn't always active. But hey, that doesn't really matter. It's round 93, and now we're just holding off handily once again. ISAB is hanging on by a thread, though. He has ZOMGs making it very far on his side. It's not just BFBs and Moabs making it far. It's not just the lapse in chipper stall, but it is the fact that ZOMGs are making it really, really far, and we may have some problems there. He is slacking a bit on ice stacking, but like I said, it does get harder as rounds go on, because there's so many more ZOMGs. It's harder to stack, and unfortunately, ISAB does die to the ZOMGs. Now, the question is, how much longer could we have defended? I'm going to guess, like, if ISAB hadn't died, I probably could hold up to maybe 100, 105. Like, it's really hard to say. You know, ZOMGs get 40% stronger and 20% faster every round. Not compared to the previous round, though, compared to, like, the initial health and speed. So it's actually not too big a change, but it adds up. It really does add up over time. It just becomes really fast and really difficult to deal with. So there we have it, the highest round on the longest map. It was a really interesting late game run for what it's worth. It was extremely long compared to other late game attempts. Like, I've gotten to round, 117 in shorter time than it took ISAB and I to make it to freaking round 90 something. So yeah, it's a long attempt. I don't know if I'm gonna do it again, because yeah, I definitely feel like we could get further. It's just ISAB ended up dying a lot quicker than I thought he would, which is okay. So thanks you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this late game run. It was pretty interesting, and I guess pretty aptly timed since I did do that late game live stream attempting to get the highest round ever. I am still on the grind for that, because I would like to see how far at least I can get, and if it's possible to improve off the round 123 current world record. We'll see if it's possible. I may attempt again in the future live stream or on another Saturday live stream. I'm not sure exactly when, but keep your eyes open for that. And that is really it. So thanks you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's video. Peace out.